Hello, Dale's Daily Devo. So today was an interesting day, interesting journey. Started off with me kind of self triggering and self catching something that would have been a mistake maybe a month or so ago. I actually caught it, so that was a great thing, and I was able to correct it before it was wrong. But then, my wife shares with me that she did do something wrong and kind of made a mistake. And then I got an interesting impact or concept from this book that I'm reading. What we will be sharing in today's devotional. But then during prayer meeting with the prayer team, uh, a call came in from my daughter requesting prayer for her friend who she just found out lost her husband. Uh, and I reflecting back over the day, and I'm like, man, this is a whirlwind of a day. But somehow God is in all of this, and somehow from the highs and the lows, somehow we can find God in this, and God is speaking to us, and God is moving. He's doing something. I'm not really sure what, but man, something's going on. Something's going on. So, even from the highs, even to the lows of tragedy, we need to recognize that God is still in control. Yeah, we're going through, but He's still in control. And that's the good thing. That's the good thing. We still need to kind of understand what it all means to us, but we should be reassured that the solid rock is still right there. So, for today's devotional, so reading in this book about the laws and different laws that we have, and that there's unwritten laws that govern us and how we act and what we do. But then there are other laws that we have that also govern and act what we do. And one of those is gravity. So now, gravity is a law, and pretty much it's kind of an unchangeable law. Gravity exists all over the earth. No matter what we throw up, it comes down. Because gravity pulls it back down to the earth. Now, just like any laws that are out there, how some people say laws are made to be broken, right? So, okay, yeah, we'll go along with that. But what about breaking the law of gravity? Now, initially, some of you might think about that for a second and be like, "Oh, I guess you really can't break that." Well, technically, we do. I mean, because we do fly. And to be able to fly, we are temporarily breaking the law of gravity because we're not immediately being pulled back down, but we are sustaining flight or sustaining being pulled away from the earth for a period of time that we are determining what that is. So then that made me think about the concept, okay, we're breaking a law. What does it take to break that law? And when I think of the law of gravity, it takes a lot of force for that airplane, that helicopter, that rocket, whatever it is that is trying to fly, to be able to lift off the ground, fighting against gravity. All right. And then not only do you have to have enough force to break the bond of gravity, but then you also have to have enough force and energy to lift the weight of what it is that you're trying to suspend up in the air for that period of time. So it takes an enormous amount of force to allow us to break the law of gravity. So I was thinking about, the laws of God. How easy or hard is it to break the law of God? So let's go back to the garden. God tells Adam, don't eat this. That's God's law. Pretty basic. So how much force did it require Adam to break that law? Now we look at it and we say, well, man, very little force at all. He just pretty much chose to not do it. And we talked about that the other day. That's that free will. But we throw it around so lightly. It's almost as if it doesn't require any force to break these laws. It doesn't require any effort or force to say no to God or to step away from God or to break his law. But see, that's the problem. It appears to us like it didn't take any force. We think it wasn't any effort to break God's law. But therein lies the problem. Is because this force that it takes to actually exercise that free will and literally say no to God is way heavier, way more than anything it takes to lift a plane off the ground. To give you an example, I would say if I were to sit here and take, say, 50 full adult elephants and pile them right on top of you, you would be squashed and blown to pieces as if in nothing but dust, because there is no way you could handle that amount of force coming down on you physically. But see, the problem is that breaking God's law isn't a physical force, it's a spiritual force. And it's heavy. Because we don't feel it, we don't think that much about it. We don't think the impact is that great, but it's extremely great. Think about what Adam lost. He lost paradise. He lost walking in the cool of the day with God. He lost that intimacy, that personal connection that he had with his Creator. He lost having things just come to him to the point where now he had to work by the sweat of his brow to gain and get. All that was lost because what seemed like it didn't take any effort to break God's law required great force spiritually to break God's law. So, and that's the problem, is because we don't feel it, because we don't feel the force on us, because we don't feel the weight on us, we just kind of blow it off. Oh, I chose not to do that. No, I didn't feel like that. You know, it just wasn't me. I wasn't into it. That ain't working for me. Nah, I'm against that. See, it's so easy to just throw that off, but not understanding what's really happening. Just like it takes a great amount of force to physically lift the airplane off the ground and get it into the air, to break the law of gravity, it requires an enormous amount of force to break God's laws. And that impacts not only us individually, it impacts everyone who is connected with us. Family, friends, job, neighbors, everyone around us is all being impacted because it's affecting me and how I love me. And how I love me is how I'm also supposed to love you. So we all are being impacted by this great force that we don't feel. But the impact is there, drastically changing what's going on in our lives. But yet we do it because we don't think there's any impact. We don't think there's any consequences. We don't think Nothing's happening. I just chose not to do that. No big deal. But yet the ripple effect of that decision, just like with Adam, everybody still today, that people are still debating today. People are mad at Eve. Okay? Over 2,000 plus years ago, people are still mad at Eve and are pretty disappointed with Adam too. Ripple effect of making a decision to break God's law. Because at the time, it didn't seem like there was any great impact. But there is. It comes at a great cost. I mean, look at what it took just to redeem us. God had to wrap himself in flesh because there was no other flesh worthy enough to carry the weight. That great weight. No one else was worthy enough to carry that. And Jesus had to carry that up on the cross and hang on the cross. We keep looking at the physical impact. Trust me, the spiritual weight was greater, way greater than the physical weight of his body hanging on that cross. And that's what he had to bear, just to redeem us back. So yeah, when we willy-nilly choose to not do what God says, go against the flow, I ain't doing that. Well, we just do it because just don't understand the great weight that it required, literally divinity to come into flesh so that it could be capable of bearing the weight to pay the price. Bottom line is, I'm sorry, God, I ate the fruit, but I can't even make it up. I can't even repay it. Granted, it was just a piece of fruit. It was one bite, but now there's nothing I can do to satisfy this debt. There's nothing I can do to make it right. There's nothing I can do to transfer that heavy weight back. It took Jesus. It took the Almighty coming down and being born of a woman, wrapped in flesh, had to go through the whole growing process to become a man. To become a man who lived a miraculous life that we should be trying to imitate. And then that man got beaten, hung up on a cross, pierced in the side, thrown in a grave. And all of that was done to pay the price of a simple bite of the fruit, breaking the law of God. So, next time you go and enjoy yourself in your airplane or your helicopter, and you fly from one place to the next, and that plane takes off, and you feel the pressure in the seat, and you go up, and you're all happy. Oh, we made it, we landed. Just think. It takes a great amount of force to break the law of God. Greater, way greater than riding in an airplane. But yet, it happens several times a day all over the world as if it were nothing. All because there isn't an immediate impact. We don't immediately feel the weight or the pressure. So therefore, we just do whatever we want to do. Man, we have so much to grasp and understand. We got to stop going through life on easy street and just going with the flow. We need to understand that there's something in that flow. And we need to respect it. We need to respect God, God's wishes, God's will, God's desire, God's law. We need to respect it and give it the right respect it's due. And clearly, we need to start making the decisions to keep, obey, follow God. And understand that every time that we do that, that heavy burden is not coming upon us, is not impacting the whole world around us. What we do, the decisions we make are powerful, powerful. So we need to really think about it. Think about what we do. Think about what we say. Think about how we react. And definitely think about the choices we make each and every day. Now, they say that if you want to think about Jesus Christ all the time and think about God and kind of maybe even ask Him about each and every question and decision that you're going to make, that might be a good thing. Might work for you. But we've got to do something different. We have got to do our part. And our part could just simply be making sure today, this day, we don't go out there and break any laws of God. Dale's Daily Devo, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. Catch you tomorrow. Like I said, every day is going to continue to be interesting because we are being hit with all these things. Because remember, I'm in a makeover. Catch you tomorrow.